G'day guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have a bit of a different one. We were contacted by one of our subscribers to actually finish building his custom water-cooled PC. This PC is an absolute beast, has an RTX 2080 Ti inside. I'm not 100% sure of a lot of the other specs, so once we get it all water-cooled, piped up and running, we will certainly check out those specs and see what he's actually running in this system. Now our subscriber did let us know that he has tried multiple times trying to bend tubes, but at $15 for 2 single tubes, he cannot afford to keep doing it and messing up. So he did contact us to do this. We will take you guys through this whole process, show you guys some sweet water cooling pans while we're filling it up and everything like that. And of course the final shots and then our final impressions of the build. This is of course Rocket League theme. We do have a custom power supply cover right there with a sick mounting position for the SSD for full view. Now the subscriber does say that he also has some other custom panels, for example, for the SSD, which is themed towards Rocket League as well. So it'll be interesting to see that implemented into the build, but I cannot wait to actually get this started. Now the cables in here are also from Cable Mod. We've got the custom sleeved cables. They look real premium. Let's actually get into this build, get stuck into the water cooling. I hope you all enjoy.
I am who I'm meant to be. I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out.
So upon receiving this, I actually noticed a couple of issues with placement of the fittings, and this does lead me to believe that is probably the cause of him actually struggling to bend some of these tubes. Now, the way he actually had it set up could have caused some serious leaks in this system as well. Up the top of this reservoir, EK, I don't know why they do this, but they want their fittings flat on the top so people can't actually use this as an inlet. Now, by putting in a special fitting first and then the normal compression fitting, you would be able to use it like normal. However, our subscriber actually had their compression fitting screwed into here, and because there's a little lip, the compression fitting doesn't actually screw in all the way, and the O-ring's not making any contact with any of this plastic up here. So if he filled it up too much or there was a bit too much pressure in the system, water could have actually squirted out the top. Now, luckily this is up the top because there is more chances of it not happening if you have the water, say, 1 centimeter or something lower than the top of this. However, to prevent any possible leakage, especially with him traveling back to his house, we're going to actually have the inlet on the side here where it can make flush contact with the plastic right here, and then we're going to have that come from the CPU right there. So that's going to be a nice, it's going to come out, it's going to go straight and then 45 degrees into that fitting. Another thing that we had was this fitting here was a 90-degree fitting and it was pushing up against the GPU. So what we had to do was we had to tilt the reservoir a tiny bit, and we ended up using 2 45-degree angles to create the 90-degree angle, which meant that this actually came out further, and it also lined up very straight with the inlet of our radiator. So we can do a nice simple 90-degree bend up and around here. Now, it's good there as well. We were thinking about putting this fitting here. However, we didn't want to collide with this tube coming up here. So by having it here, we are avoiding this tube's run up, and we can go straight into the CPU because the reservoir and the CPU are on level. So for this fitting right here, we did end up adding a tiny bit of an extension fitting, so we could dodge the motherboard armor here on the VRM heatsink, and this will just come straight up and then go straight into the radiator up the top there. So it's going to be a simple standard loop. It's going to look really nice for his build because this is a nice clean design. So apart from that, let's actually get into bending the tubes. So once I've actually got my tube cut and I've got the 90-degree bend, I always actually bend my tube so that I've got a bit of slack on each side so that I can work it down to the perfect length. So I have cut this tube down slightly so that we do have it at a really good length. Now I'm going to be working on the bottom section of this tube to make sure that it does fit where it's meant to go. So all I really do normally is I just line it up with the top fitting, and then I have a rough idea where to cut it. Now I'll always leave a bit of slack, so I will end up cutting it roughly here where my thumb is, so I know it's definitely going to go past the fitting, but it'll give me a better idea because I'll be able to move the tube in a lot closer to check it out. So let's go ahead and we will cut this tube down and you guys will see the final result. So as you can see, this bend here turned out really successful, and taking tube bit by bit out of this actually allows us to save a lot more tube in the end because we're not actually underdoing it or really overdoing it. We're taking it out bit by bit to create that perfect bend. A lot of people will try and get that perfect bend straight away and accidentally underdo it. Therefore, they're wasting so much more tube than what we have wasted in the end. I've also left enough gap up the top so that he could still fit fans in. So here I'm demonstrating a standard size fan up the top there. So if he wanted to add fans up the top, that is well within his range right there. Certainly enough gap up there as well. So our next tube bend is going to require two bends. We're going from the CPU to the reservoir up the top here. So we're going to require a 90 degree to come out here, and then we're going to go in at a 45 degree angle and hopefully get into this. Now, this bend actually requires a lot more precise action here. We cannot afford to overdo this. We can overdo the run coming out, but the 45, we need to kind of make that perfect. Otherwise, it's not going to line up with the CPU. It might 45 degree angle out to here. It might not even be a 45 degree angle. So we need to be a bit more precise on this. That just requires a lot of fiddling and fitting. Even when the tube is still nice and soft after heating it up, I'll actually bring it here and I'll try and line it up myself. Now, everything I do is by eye, but we do the best that we can. And obviously if we fail it, then we've got plenty more tubes to go. This first run was successful on the first go. So let's see how many times it takes us to complete this right here. So we ended up getting this tube run perfect. This is actually our second bend. Our first one, we did get it perfect. However, what happened was this run here was slightly off. So then we heated that up, bent it again, tried to get that lined up, and then it was slightly in. So we did heat it up one more time. And the process of heating it up a couple of times actually deformed this bend right here. So we weren't happy with that. But the good thing about that is we heated this up one last time. And while it was hot, we actually pulled the tube insert out and we bent this to the exact angle that it should be, so that when we bent our new tube run, we actually have something to go off of. So when I did my 90 degree, I just copied this, put it side by side while it was hot, and then I let it settle down. Then when we did this angle here, I put it side by side and I basically bent it to this exact same angle. So I had the perfect tube run on the second go. Our third and final tube run is going to be pretty simple as well. It's only one bend, so we can extend the tube a tiny bit to allow for us to just cut it down really slowly on both ends. So it's going to go up from the pump up into the radiator. So the radiator is going to be actually cooling the liquid before it goes into the CPU. So let's go ahead and get that done. The 90 degree angles we seem to get often in the first try. That's because they're a lot simpler and you can obviously overdo them and then cut them down smaller bit by bit to get them perfect. Whereas these ones, you kind of have to get it pretty much spot on in the first tube run, because you can't obviously overdo this straight here or anything like that. Otherwise you're going to be clearing the fitting inlet right here. So we've got 3 bends in there, they're perfect right now. I think it's on to filling the build. So there we have it, guys. Here we have what I would consider a really clean custom loop inside of this Corsair case right here. For any of you guys wondering what the specs are, I'll leave everything down in the description below for you guys to check out. We have the custom power supply shroud right here with the SSD mounted on the front. And as I said, there will be a custom SSD plate which will be on the front there to actually hide that SSD. That will be white and blue in color, so it will match the rest of the build. We do have the clean custom CPU loop, and of course the subscriber did want to keep the GPU as is because he does love the look of the LED lights on the front, hence why he bought this particular GPU. Some nice white RGB RAM there from Corsair, and then we've got the EK Velocity CPU block and the EK water cooling inside to complete this whole build. So as you can see here, we did end up getting all of the tubes really nice and straight and parallel and perpendicular to each other. There was two simple 90-degree bends that we had to do, and then we had to do this 90-degree bend out of the CPU, and then we had to put it on a 45-degree angle to go straight into the GPU. Couldn't put it up the top. As we said before, there is a little lip up the top which the fittings can't screw all the way into, and there is no contact made between the O-ring and the plastic part itself, so that would have caused some leaks within the build. Now, it is still very easy to drain this. We do have a drain valve at the front here on one of the inlets, so all we have to do is take one of the ports off the top of the reservoir. That allows air to come in, replaces the liquid, and then the liquid can drain out of the valve. As I said before, cables are from Cable Mod. They are their premium sleeved cables, and they do have the white aluminium cable combs on them, so they look really nice and managed. Now, this was a very tight squeeze that I noticed with this GPU. It actually was leaning up against this, and there is a tiny bit of lean off of the memory as well. It's pushing against the back a real slight tiny. It's not actually pushing, it's just touching. It's not going to hurt it at all because the circuitry is not being touched. The memory is also plastic, so that's not going to affect anything. And our subscriber did actually say that he's going to put some fans up the top as well. Unfortunately, we don't have the bracket for that to mount any of them, and we don't have his fans here as well. So he will be doing that later on. So he's not going to have 3 intake and 1 exhaust. There is going to be some more fans up the top to make it a lot more even. Our subscriber did want to leave all of the LEDs set to RGB. That's specifically why he got this Rocket League power supply cover made, and personally I would love to see maybe some white LEDs, maybe some blue LEDs. RGB still looks really nice in this build, but I think white or blue might suit it a bit more. However, because he did get this power supply cover specifically to show off that Rocket League logo, the RGB might be the way to go for him. Anyway, guys, don't go anywhere. We have a bit of a montage for you guys coming up, so I hope you all enjoy the final product shots, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like on the video, and comment down below what is your favorite part about this build.
Too many thoughts on my mind, I can't sleep at night, so I just keep writing. I don't need no help, I don't need opinions, so don't waste my time then. I just been living online, my city don't show me no loving, that's fine. Fuck local radio stations, I got more plays than all of these rappers combined. I'm going again, I've been going in, I'm fed up with so many things, I gotta just let it all out. I'm talking about the shit they've been talking about, telling me I should do this, telling me I should do that, telling me things about rap, talking the truth and then stabbing my back, they will knock me off track. No, too many things have been building, been hard to deal with, I just been drinking. Remember my moves in the past, I'm wondering what was I thinking. Lately I'm living in fear, wondering what if the end is so near. All of this shit going on, the shootings are strong, one shot to the head and I'm gone.